All right, you had the questions. I've got the answers. Part 2, today on Darth Rage Reviews.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
Greetings, Force fans, and welcome to another episode of Darth Rage Reviews, your source for the Force. If you'd be so kind, I'd love it if you would hit that subscribe button, guys. It costs you nothing. Nothing at all. Hit the notification bell so you know when I'm dropping videos. I drop videos daily, sometimes, many times, multiple times a day. If you like Star Wars cosplay props, just if you like me in general, you won't be disappointed. Hit that subscribe button. Also, I do giveaways. I give away stuff all the time. Ask people. They know. They know. And the only way to win is to be a subscriber. So, there you have it. All right, today, guys, this is my much anticipated, long awaited, much maligned Q&A video. I put out a couple posts asking for you guys to ask me questions. What do you guys want to know about me? Anything at all. And it is now my time to answer them. So we're going to get right to it. What made you want to make costumes? How did you make the Mandalorian helmet? What costumes have you made? Do you work for Disney? Do you have a Mandalorian forge hidden in your basement? Are you a Jedi, a Mandalorian? I honestly don't know at this point. That's a lot of questions. So let's start with the top. What got me into cosplay? You know, I've always wanted to dress up like a Jedi. You know, I think wanting to be a Jedi was the first thing that I kind of really wanted to do, cosplay wise. And I think what got me into it was honestly the pandemic. You know, a whole lot of time on my hands, and bought me some lightsabers, and then decided, well, I've got a lightsaber. Now I need something to, you know, warrant this. I need to dress up like a Jedi and learn to spin a lightsaber. So that's what my, you know, when I look back years from now, and what did you get out of the pandemic? Cosplay and learning to spin lightsabers. That's what the pandemic gave me. But I think, you know, kind of that was the reason behind it. I think I've kind of always wanted to. You know, I was insanely jealous of my brother, who was a 501st Boba Fett, and yeah, I wish I would have gotten into it sooner, you know, when he was into it, when he was here, because, you know, I think we would have had a whole lot of fun doing it together. But yeah, I think that's kind of what the pandemic and having that free time is what, you know, really made me jump into it. And then I just kind of kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper into it. You know, I got the Kylo Ren helmet back there that was unfinished, and proceeded to finish that. Got a Kylo costume, got into the Mando thing, purchased the Clone Trooper armor. So, you know, I think a lot of it, why did I get so far into cosplay? You know, I think it kind of, once you open that floodgate, you know, it's really easy to go forward, but it's, you know, it was both the boredom and free time that I had during the pandemic, and kind of an homage to my brother. So that's, you know, really what did that. Now, how did I make the Mandalorian helmet? I didn't make the Mandalorian helmet. The Mandalorian helmet I have is just the Black Series helmet. So, where is it? Oh, there it is. Yeah. So, it's, you know, just the Hasbro Black Series. It's an awesome helmet. Very, very accurate as far as Hasbro goes. You know, I think the ears are a little bit bigger than they need to be. But other than that, it's, you know, it needs to be a little bit weathered, but other than that, it's a very, very nice helmet. So that's where I got that. Now, how did I finish the rest of the armor? I do have playlists. I've got a whole playlist on the Mandalorian armor build. I do suggest you check it out. I think it's got several really cool videos, but I got the armor from Galactic Armory 3D printed. So I don't have my own 3D printer. Not yet, but got the armor pre-done from Galactic Armory, which you can get it to galacticarmory.net. When you're checking out, use the code DarthRage. You'll get 10% off. Darth Rage, DarthRage, 10% off everything in store. So I got the armor from Galactic Armory and then finished all that. The costume I got from Sky Costumes, you know, gloves from Amazon, the leather bandolier from Amazon. and I finished the leather leg pieces. I just kind of created myself. So, that's that. I got this armor mostly from a friend of mine, but it is from 850 Armor Works, which is they're out of Pensacola, Florida. They're a local armor producer, and they make this stuff. They make Mandalorian armor. They make it all. So really, really good stuff, local guys. So that is where I got that as well. Hope that helps. No, I don't have a Mandalorian forge. I don't have a 3D printer. I do have sandpaper, filler primer, Bondo, and fiberglass resin, and that's really all you need. Oh, and a Dremel. Dremel works too. That works real well. But that's all you need. It's this is a hobby that anybody can do, and you don't need your own Mandalorian forge. So there you go. There's your answer. All right, the next question. Will you please react to some Quentin Tarantino movies which you've not seen yet, or other such stuff? Would love to see that. So there's a problem there. There are no Quentin Tarantino movies that I have not seen multiple times. So I could not do a reaction to a Quentin Tarantino movie. I could, analyze one, but I don't know if that would fit into, the square that I've kind of boxed myself into here with the Star Wars universe. But I do plan on doing reaction videos, and I promise that I'm going to begin it once they drop a Kenobi trailer. I will actually do a reaction video to that Kenobi trailer. So it's something that I've wanted to do and kind of wanted to get into, but it just took a whole lot of, it's a little bit more production intensive than this is. And I mean, I guess not much really, but it's just something new. And I guess I didn't really want to kind of jump right into it. So figure I'll start with something easy, do, something short like that Kenobi trailer that whenever it drops. But once that Kenobi trailer drops, it's my promise to you, I will do a reaction video to that. And then depending on how that goes, maybe many more after that. But they will probably be focused more on the Star Wars universe, although I do love Quentin Tarantino. Right? Thank you for that question. Next question. Are there any sabers on your wish list that you look to purchase? For a while, till really kind of recently, I would have said no. I'm very happy with all of the sabers I've got. I got the Obi-Wan. I really wanted to get an Obi-Wan saber before the series came out, just because I knew that it was something that I'd want to kind of swing around once I saw him swinging it around again. So I was very happy I got that. When I got that, I mean, although there are a lot of LGT sabers out there that, new hilts that they're offering that, I'm really psyched for, the Star Killer, things like that. None of them are anything that I really, really felt like I needed. But now I kind of want a dark saber, which is ironic because for the longest time that was the least popular. I didn't want a dark saber. I thought they were chunky. I just didn't think they looked good. And those were all kind of based off the ones from the comics, from the Clone Wars and from Rebels. So they really were a little bit, more chunky than the one that's in the Mandalorian. But then when we see it in the Mandalorian, I really dig that dark saber. So yeah, I think I got to get a dark saber. I know it's a kind of a piece of crap internally, but I'm going to Disney in a little bit. I may end up buying the one that they sell down there at Darth, just because it's so easy. It's vacation money that I've already saved up and spent. It's kind of not, I'm going to buy something there souvenir wise. Why not buy the dark saber? I don't need something. I'm not going to swing that around. I want to use it for cosplay videos. I want to use it for my Dinjar and stuff. So, yeah, I think a dark saber. Then I look at that and then I see that, LGT has a Profi version as well, or a NeoPixel version as well. So I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. So, yeah, I think a dark saber is definitely on my wish list and making me want to get something lightsaber again. I still have the Kara flagship that eventually I want to get installed. It's just right now, all my extra money, I'm saving up. I want to get a 3D printer. So all my extra money right now is going to be focused on kind of that, because I want to start printing my own props and my own stuff. Saber wise, somehow the dark saber went from never being on my list to being high enough on my list to want to buy it before I buy my 3D printer. So there's your answer. Hope you enjoyed that. Do you play Battlefront 2? And do you want to 3D print a droid? Yes, I do play Battlefront 2. I've got it on PlayStation and play it, probably still once a week. I love, love, love that game. Typically, I'm doing like hero battles, but also love the Ewok hunt, and I just love getting in there and shooting the crap out of people in the Star Wars universe. So yeah, Battlefront 2, what a good fun game. I don't do a whole lot of the starship or the flying on there. I don't like the flying mechanics of it. Do I want to 3D print a droid? Right now, obviously, I don't have a 3D printer yet, but absolutely, when I get a 3D printer, I do. And I want to print two specifically. So I want to print a BD unit. I've seen several kind of posable 3D printed BD units that I would really love to have. I just think it'd make a really cool display piece. So yeah, BD unit would be one, and then the next would be just a one of the clankers. I'd want a what are those called? Whatever those droids are called. I'm blanking on that. So the droids from the droid armies in the prequels. I'd love to print a buddy of mine that's 501st locally, the guy that I got that armor from, Brian. So he's printing a life-size droid, and it's a battle droid. So he's printing a life-size one, and yeah, I think I'd like to print one of those as well, because that would be a nice little, stand-in next to the clone trooper. So yeah, that. Would I like to ever print a 3D droid? Absolutely. Or 3D print a droid? Absolutely. And I think absolutely I will once I get my 3D printer, which hopefully will be later this year. Fingers crossed. There's your answer. Next question. Have you been to many Star Wars events? Actually, no. I have not been to many Star Wars events. I've never been to any type of con, which is kind of odd now that I think about it. But yeah, never been to any Comic-Con of any type. I have been to several Star Wars events, like movie premieres and stuff like that, as a dressed-up character with the Rebel Legion, just locally here. So nothing big. But the biggest, probably, Star Wars event I went to was in Nashville. When I was in Nashville, when Phantom Menace came out, I was working at the Fox affiliate there and got premiere tickets to the Phantom Menace. So I was able to see the Phantom Menace a day, basically the night before it opened, which was super cool to me, because for those of you that were not alive or not old enough to remember, that gap between Return of the Jedi and the Phantom Menace, it was a dearth. I mean, we had comics, we had books, but there was one good book for every 5 or 6 really bad ones. There were games, but we never knew for a fact there was going to be another movie. So, once we heard there was going to be another movie or another trilogy, it just, wow. I mean, so for me as a Star Wars fan to be in a position to be able to see the movie before the general public, I was super duper psyched. And I remember, I had the premiere ticket wouldn't let me keep it. I wish they would have. It was cardstock about that big. It had the movie poster, on one side of it, in the back, the time and the date, and how you get in. And then actually when we went there to go in, I didn't realize it, but it had a black light kind of watermark on the back of it as well, because they checked it with a black light when we went in there. But I showed up an hour before the door, just because I didn't know how it was going to work. And of course there were people that were camping out for Phantom Menace that was going to open the next night. They had been camping out for several days for it, and so they're all there in line, and I just kind of go up and to the very front of the door and went and asked inside. I said, I'm here for this premiere. Is the theater open yet? They're like, no, it's not open. It'll be open in about 45 minutes. So where should I wait? They're like, well, just go and sit by the front of the line. There's people that are waiting there. So I go in there and, I sit down. People are like, hey man, the line's, you got to go back to the back. We're in the front of the line here. I was like, oh no, I'm actually going to the premiere tonight. They're like, what? So yeah, I'm going to showed them the ticket. I got the premiere tickets for tonight. They're like, oh man, that's so cool. So it was kind of neat, and I got to come out afterwards and not spoil it for them, but give them a thumbs up, because I remember leaving the movie thinking it was the best thing ever, and then it's at every subsequent viewing, it became less and less and less. Now I basically watch the pod race and the fight at the end, and that's it. That's all I can stomach of Phantom Menace. But that was the closest I came to an actual Star Wars event, would have been that premiere of the Phantom Menace in Nashville, Tennessee. So hopefully in my future, there will be actual con appearances, and, maybe something bigger if this little thing ever takes off. So hope that answered your question. All right. The next question is, when will you apply for getting verification? So I'm making an assumption here that because it was kind of around when I was talking about this, that you're referencing the clone trooper. Because I didn't know if that was that or verification somehow on YouTube anyway. So I assume you're talking about that. Now I've been through a costume verification process with my Jedi costume. So my Jedi costume is a verified Rebel Legion Master Jedi. So I am a Jedi with the Rebel Legion. So but now the Rebel Legion's verification process is much more simple and not anywhere near as rigorous as the 501st. So, but I understand kind of the basics of the submission process and how it works. So it'll really all depend on when I get this done. Now, I think it will probably take me a good 6 months because although I am committed to it, I'm still procrastinating. But I think it'll probably take me a good 6 months to finish all of this. Once I get it finished, then it's a matter of, taking a whole lot of really good, really close photos, and then you just email it and kind of keep your fingers crossed and hope that they don't ask you to change too much. So yeah, it kind of all depends on how the production goes as to when I will submit that for verification. Now my Mando will never, there's too many things that are wrong with that to actually be a 501st Mandalorian. I'd have to kind of start from scratch. Even with the armor, there's problems and pieces with the armor that would need to be changed. So that's not something that I'm looking to do. That's really just something that was for me, for fun, because I think it looks cool and feels cool to have it on. So, but yeah, when will I go for verification for that? Hopefully before the end of the year. That is my this year goal, is to get that costume completed and to, get that submitted and approved for 501st. So hope that answered your question. What is the favorite thing you have created for cosplay or props, and what advice would you give somebody who's wanting to get started with this? So the favorite thing that I have completed really tends to be the last thing that I worked on. I think when I got the Kylo helmet done, that was the favorite thing that I had done, and then when I completed the Boba Fett blaster, that was the favorite thing that I did. The Mandalorian armor right now and that whole cosplay, I mean, it's hard to top, so that's obviously right now the favorite thing that I've done. But again, when I get that complete, I'm hard pressed to see how that's not going to be the favorite thing that I've done. So to me, it's kind of like the last thing that I worked on tends to be the favorite thing that I've done. And then what advice would I give somebody, who's wanting to kind of get into the cosplay props building kind of thing? First off, you don't need to buy a 3D printer. There are plenty of places that sell 3D prints of things. I would say if you're going to get into it long term, which I think I'm going to be, I think I've kind of shown that I'm going to be, then you're probably best off getting into 3D printing, which I think I'm going to do. But you don't need to get into that. If you're just wanting to, try it out, you could buy a blaster for less than $100, buy a cool prop for, less than $50 and try to finish it and see if it's something you like doing. You legitimately need a couple things. You'll need sandpaper. You will need probably some Bondo glazing spot putty, maybe some fiberglass resin, and then paint, filler, primer, and whatever paint you're going to use. Maybe some acrylic paints. So you're looking at, $100 worth of stuff, but out of that $100 that you'll get several small props or, one big set of armor kind of out of that $100 that you spend on paints and stuff. Now, Paints can get costly if you're dealing with a lot of armor. Just rattle cans tend to add up. But I mean, you're looking at $5 a can, and I probably went through, for filler primer on my armor, I probably went through three or four cans, so that was $20 in just filler primer for the armor, and then a layer of flat black over all of it, which was probably 2 cans. No, it was probably 1 can. And then a layer of gloss black on top of that, probably 2 of that. And, so it adds up, but the sandpaper and the stuff like that, you get that and that'll last for a while, but you'll really just need that, sandpaper, spray paint. And the skill wise, it's nothing. These are all basic skills. It's not like you're learning to play a musical instrument when you're doing this. So, you would need to basically get those basic supplies. You want kind of a place to work as well. A lot of us, may not have that space, if we're in apartments or things like that, because there are sometimes fumes with chemicals from painting and stuff. So, you kind of are hampered if you don't have a little bit of a space that you can work in. So, I would definitely say that. But I think the biggest piece of advice that I would give people is don't be afraid to mess up, because you are going to mess up, and you can never mess up too much that you can't fix it. On my Mando armor, I mean, the Mando armor cracked in the center of it. The main piece cracked when I was doing the sanding, the painting, the priming. Freaked out, and then I was like, well, shit, I can fix that. Just put a little bit of more fiberglass resin on it, sanded it back down, boom, it was, perfectly good. So just don't think that, I broke my Mando pistol. I broke the barrel off of it and just glued it back together. There's nothing that you cannot fix when you're making these, props and costumes. So I would say, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Also, know that there are 100 different ways to do this. I tend to use, for example, just one example of the different ways to do something. I tend to use fiberglass resin to coat the 3D prints that I've got. And that's, again, just to help kind of cover up some of those print lines on them and make them stronger. Whereas a lot of people are using UV resin, and it's just, I am more familiar with fiberglass resin. I'm just more comfortable using that. Elvis tends to use UV resin, and I'm sure from what I've heard, it's awesome stuff. It's just, I am not comfortable using it yet, haven't purchased it yet. So just know there are 10, 15, 20 different ways to do pretty much all of this stuff. And don't be afraid to experiment and, see what works for you. So, those would be the 2 biggest pieces of advice that I have. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and don't be afraid to experiment and play around with different techniques, because there are tons of different ways to do all this. So, all right, guys, I think that is all of the questions I had. And, again, I don't know if this is 1 part or 2 parts. I'm not sure how long it's going to end up being. I think we were doing 2 parts of them. So I do hope you enjoyed it. As always, guys, if there's anything that I didn't answer that you wanted to know, please just, leave a comment in this one, and I'm happy to answer it later on. But as always, I am Darth Rage. This is Darth Rage Reviews, your source for the Force.
The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.